Motivation Live, and I am Peggy. I am going to be the host for this show, and boy, is it going to be a fun one. Are you having a hard time achieving the gold standard with your customer experience? Well, hang on tight because we've got some experts and we're going to have a blast talking about that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am glad you are all joining us. And as you know, if this is your first time, I'll let you in on a secret. If you're watching this, you're part of the show. Type in your comments, leave your thoughts, jump up and down, or tell us that we're crazy, whatever it is, leave those comments and we will answer them in real time. If you're watching the playback, then just hashtag playbacks and leave your comments as well. So we're going to get this show started by introducing the amazing guest I have. I'm going to pull each of them up one at a time, ask them a question, and let them tell us a little bit about them and how they would answer this question. So let's start with AJ, since he's on the top of my screen. AJ, how is taking ownership of your customer's experience impactful to your entrepreneurial journey?
Right.
I put you on the spot, didn't I?
You have indeed, right? How's it? So for me, it's about trying to remember that I'm a customer, right? And trying to think about how I would like to be treated, and then try to treat people in that way. I don't always get it right, but that's how I try and kind of remember and trying to imagine, how would I like to be treated? How can I treat people? And then trying to emulate that, regardless of whoever it is, however great or rude they are towards me, and just try to, put what I preach into practice.
Now, tell us what you do, AJ.
Sure. So I'm a digital marketer who works pretty much with e-commerce brands, and so I help them scale to 6 and 7 figures using a range of digital marketing techniques.
So you and I had a very great conversation before the show started. So
Correct.
I'm excited to really dig deep into all the insights that you have. But right now I'm going to pull Jill up here and put her in the hot seat and ask her this question. Jill, first of all, tell us what you do. And then please, how do you think taking ownership of your customer's experience, how does that impact your entrepreneurial journey?
Thank you. I'm delighted to be here, and I'm out of Northern California. I'm a publicity book on it called Guerrilla Publicity, and I've been helping entrepreneurs get their word out for years now. And I also run an intentional kindness community based on the profit of kindness. As far as the customer journey, I mean, for me, listen, not happy. I'm not happy. I want to serve people, service. And are you getting what you need? And if you're not, let's talk. Let's help create it. So customer experience is quite important. And I am always asking, how are you doing? Are you keeping up with the publicity steps and the questions, which helps me help them on their customer journey.
Awesome. Thank you, Jill. Now, Bob and I are like buddies from across the ocean. I love Bob. So Bob, get up here and tell us how your customer's experience impacts your goal. I don't know what the question is. Impacts your entrepreneurial journey. There we go.
You got there in the end, Penny. Peggy, sorry. I called you Penny. We're all making mistakes today. So yes, thanks for the introduction. I'm Bob Taylor. I'm a conversion copywriter and copywriting coach. So this answer for me is going to come from a position of communication, kind of piggybacking a little bit on the back of what Jill just said. But when we think about customer experience, it's very easy to jump to where did it go wrong? And it's a great place to look, where did customer experience go wrong? And there have been times where through projects that I've completed with different entrepreneurs, different businesses, things haven't always gone exactly as I'd originally planned. And it's what we do at those points that really affect the customer experience overall. For me, I live by the customer's always right, even when they're wrong, which can be very, very difficult to do sometimes. But when someone comes to you and says, I asked you for this, and I know definitively you didn't ask me for that, and I gave you what you asked me for, it's instead of being argumentative and saying, no, I didn't say that, provide the solution. One thing that I always try to do whenever there's a problem is come to the room with the solution instead of just having the problem. So don't start talking about the problem until you've got that a solution in mind, and then there's a discussion point to have, and that's going to help move that customer experience along and keep customers happy.
I love that. And I have found in my own entrepreneurial journey that I like to under promise and over deliver.
Absolutely.
Because I feel like if my customers, if that's part of my branding, that I have customers that are always super excited. Now I have and we probably all feel this way about our service. Like I'm sure Bob, I'm sure AJ, I'm sure Jill, all of us have that. Like Bob said, when the customer comes and said, this is what I wanted. And you're like, that is not what we discussed. Like we all have that moment, but I'm a professional photographer. So I have to deal with people having to look at themselves. And that's really hard for a lot of people because I'm showing you yourself. And a lot of times we don't like what we see because of our own insecurities and our own things. So I have to come from a very compassionate understanding and realize that people have weird hangups, and what I think is gorgeous, you may just think is your biggest flaw. So, you have to really use that. One of you said this, communication. Was it you, Bob?
Mm-hmm.
I thought so.
Of course it was.
Of course it was Bob.
It always is. It always is.
But you really and build that into your brand. That's your brand. So, like I said, I'm telling you, this show's going to be fire, guys.
Can I jump on something that you just said, Peggy?
Of course, Bob. This is the Bob and Peggy Interrupt show. Go for it.
About the under promising and over providing. That is a great thing to do, to actually build great customer experience into your processes. And just as an example of that, for example, I sell blog writing as a service. And for the longest amount of time, I just provided that service with 3 social media posts to advertise the blog, to push people towards going to actually read that blog post. I didn't advertise that it was included in the package. It was just what they got when I provided the service. And what that created for the customer was, wow. And I don't know, you probably all have it, but when that customer goes, wow, thank you so much, that's so much better. You automatically go into a feedback session or whatever it might be with that massive positive. And that just drives that everything going forward then perfect. I do actually now advertise that it comes with 3 posts because it's the extra value that I give for those things. But there are other things that I've built into the processes that I provide as a copywriter that create that wow impact. So if you can find a way to build wow into your process, you're going to automatically improve customer experience.
I think we should quote that, build wow into your process. Like that's I like that. I love that. Okay. We are going to get motivated. We're going to start with Jill this time. Jill, why is your customer experience important to your branding message?
First, a great question. Here's the thing. When you're out in publicity, really is the face, right? And so them being powerful with a message that matters, having impact and contribution, like that has to start with them. But guess who it's coming from? Me, helping them. So we better be aligned. I've got to get them, shall we say, their message and resonant with what they're communicating so that they have a great PR experience, media experience. And so that, and it does, always start here. And then of course the client represents themselves, in order for them to feel confident and really authentic, that they find the right message. So that's always my passion, is let's get you the right message. The message has the kind of impact and contribution you deserve. And then you get that third party endorsement, visibility that publicity provides. So that's where I tend to go with it.
Very awesome. And we're having just a slight bit of technical issues. I think we're all able to, our brains are able to fill in the missing words, but that was good, Jill. Thank you. All right, Bob, come on up here. And Bob, why is your customer experience important to your branding message?
Well, as I mentioned, I'm a copywriter, and if you go onto my website or look at any of the emails or any of the communication that I write, if that doesn't engage you or convert you, then there's something I'm not doing right? So the customer experience has to be built into what I'm creating in everything that I write, so that you as a customer can see what you get when you work with me. There are many times that I'm asked, can I see a portfolio? And I do have a portfolio on my website, but the first thing I say is, take a look at my website, because if you don't like that, you're not going to like what I create for you. So it just sets up the customer's experience, because they can see that I write with a conversational tone. They're like, I want you to write like that for my website. I want you to do that for me. So when they can see what they're going to get before they even start working with me, or a sample of what they're going to get before they even start working with me, I think that helps the customer experience overall. I actually forgot the question you asked, so I think I answered it.
I think you nailed it as usual, but why is your customer experience important to your branding message? You nailed it.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
You nailed it. AJ, come tell us what you think. Why is your customer's experience important to your branding message?
So sure. So for me, branding is not just the logo, it's the experience as well. So I don't see them as separate things. I see them as one individual thing. So when I think of a brand, I think of how that brand looks, how that brand feels, how I feel when I interact with that brand. And all of that is customer experience. So, if I go to McDonald's anywhere in the world, I know the experience is going to be really, really great, because they've spent billions of dollars making sure that the experience is congruent across their whole network. Whereas if I go to a small tea shop and it's a bit quirky, it's a bit funny, right? I don't think, that is the outworking of their brand. It's not, it's not anything different. It has to be congruent with their message and their how they treat the experience. So yeah, so I just see it as it's the outworking, really, rather than it being kind of a separate thing.
Absolutely. So I think I think what everyone is saying is consistency, right? Your brand is not just a logo. Your brand starts with your headshot, your profile picture, your website, your videos, your content. Everything should, you absolutely want to show different sides of you to different platforms, but it has to have that consistency. It has to be you. And if you have all these things that are telling a story, one thing about your brand, and then a customer comes in and they have a completely different experience, then what good is your brand story? What good is your brand materials? What good is anything if that experience doesn't match up to what you've spent all this effort in lining up? So that customer experience should absolutely just be an extension of your brand. My customer having an amazing experience, loving their images, loving the marketing advice, loving all of the things that I've done for them and with them, that is part of my brand. That's just as important as my logo. That's just as important as anything else, because if it doesn't, then what's the point, right? All right, you guys are fire. All right, we're starting with Jill now. We're going to stay inspired. Oh, yes. Your brand should be consistent. Love you, Peggy. I love you too, Monica. All right, Jill. And your question is, how does a lack of understanding of the importance of your brand affect your customer experience? If you don't understand your brand, how is that going to affect your customer's experience?
From a publicity perspective, you have to be congruent. You need to be a resonance, or what you might call, aligned with your brand is actually. Here's the fun thing. I'm a bit of a maverick in the area of publicity because I also like who they are, their ethnicity, their religion, and get publicity, frankly, in all. But here's the thing. If you are not congruent with what you're putting out there, different things, your message is off track, shall we say, and your alignment with who you say you are on your website, in your LinkedIn, on your website media page, whatever it is, and then all of a sudden you're going off on another railroad track. If you're going to do that, you got to tie it back in, so to speak. Like a woman who's a business coach, she has an autistic son and National Autism Month, but then tied it back into her being a mom and in business, back to her website. And it all worked out because we tied together a bow. Sometimes not a nice bow, but at least you've got to put it back together. When you're using all parts of who you are, it's a beautiful thing.
I love that. Use all parts of who you are, because we all are different. We have so many different things that we're passionate about. We're not just one thing. I love that. All right, AJ. How does a lack of understanding of the importance of your brand affect your customer experience?
So I call it wonkiness, right? So when you get a small business and you have a great experience the first time, then you go back and the experience isn't as great the second time, it feels wonky, right? And you walk away, you can never put the finger on it, but you think, what, right? And so that to me, I think of branding, especially, being being a result of being more intentional, more thoughtful. And so I think a lot of these things where, there might be a mismatch of branding, or there might be, it feels a bit wonky, is because you're not being intentional enough about it. And so I encourage businesses and clients of mine to go back and think about how they want to project their brand, how they want to project their message, and how they want to be perceived. And because once they've done that, then yes, it's all good. And they can be more congruent. But I think, if you don't have that forethought, you then end up being very, very accidental with how you project your message and your brand.
Absolutely. I love it. All right, Bob, you're going to finish up this question. How does a lack of understanding of the importance of your brand affect your customers' experience?
Okay, well, first of all, thanks, Colleen, for the comment. Loved it. So what I've heard from Jill and AJ, both those, is that consistency. And I'm going to go back a little bit to what I said at the beginning, which was building those processes. So for me, I'm going to go back to when I first started kind of freelancing as a copywriter myself, and that was, how do I want to treat my customers? And for me, it was, I want to give this customer. Cool. Is everything okay? There's some sound.
Oh.
So I want to give this customer the best possible experience. But then it's tracking that experience, and it's for me, because I'm very analytically minded as well, it's tracking that process. What did I do and what did the customer love? And you can grab that from testimonials. If you've got any testimonials from your customers or reviews or anything at the moment, go and take a look at them and grab the sections that they love the most, and then make what they loved part of your branding, part of the service that you offer every single time. And then the trick that I went with, which is just a kind of a mindset thing, was, okay, well, that's what I'm setting out to do. With my next customer, how do I improve that? And keep on challenging yourself to consistently improve on the customer experience that you're giving. And that will offer the consistency of branding, because you're always pushing yourself to do more than what you set as the gold standard for what your customer experience is.
Exactly. And not only listen to their good comments, but listen to their bad comments. Monica's always saying, any rude remarks, like, go ahead, bring it on. Let's bring out the popcorn and sit down and figure out how we can fix this problem, make it better. So, all right. So in the way I look at it, if your customer experience really is your brand, right? That's, if you bought a Coca-Cola and it was actually, you cracked open that can and there was actually water in there, then that's not what you expected to have, right? You knew it was going to be soda, it was going to be fizzy, you knew what you were going to expect. But all of a sudden, if something different is in there, it's like, what is going on? And so when people see all of the ways you represent yourself, when they crack open that can, when they hire you, that they should get exactly what they expect. And then, oh my gosh, and it's ice cold and it feels good, like all these extras. So really understanding your brand should be understanding your client's needs. You can't understand your brand fully and give your clients a good experience unless you understand who your clients are and what they actually need. Now, we have a whole bunch of comments from the viewers. So let's see what people have been saying. This has been such a great, yes, we know, Colleen, we all love Bob. Bob, you're awesome. Yes, tie it back. And use all parts of you, tie it in a bow. That was really good. That was really good, Jill. I liked that. And I like that you said, wait. I like that you said the bow isn't always neat, because I think that's key. Like, as a recovering perfectionist, sometimes tying it up is good enough. And we have to remember that. Go back. Branding is a result of being intentional. Absolutely. You have to, what story are you telling? What experiences are going to be? What is there that's going on? Very, very awesome. Why do they see? Monica is like fire here. She's sitting on her hands with her mouth covered, trying not to scream out loud. So she's getting it all in the comments. That's all right. We appreciate you. Bring that up. I didn't read it. Bring that back up. Bring that back up. What do they like that makes it better? Exactly. And Bob said that. Bob was like, what do you like? Oh, you like chocolate ice cream? Do you also like macadamia nuts on that chocolate ice cream? You like that? Like a little syrup on there? What else would like make that chocolate ice cream even better? All right, keep networking. All right, Jill, we are going to start with you. Who should you ask for help when you are trying to reach the gold standard in your branding?
Well, many of us do this alone. And, we just don't, right? Get yourself a mentor, a coach, get surrounded by people who are you and who are, excellent in their lane. And I think that's really how gold standard is, that you keep surrounding yourself with people who are excellent. And just so you know, I'm in multiple masterminds. I am constantly on a show event, and I think that's what makes me also a great leader and so I think for all of us, we need to be on a constant quest for improvement. And
absolutely. All right, AJ, who should you ask for help when you're trying to reach the gold standard?
So I'm going to do something a little bit different. So I would go and say, actually observe brands that you love and try and study them. So, for me, it's Bentley. So I spend a lot of time thinking about Bentley and thinking about how they market, how they engage with their customers, how they build a great experience, how they build such a great product, etc. And then I try and then think about how I can apply what Bentley do to my little business. Obviously, I'm not Bentley, but I aspire to be like them. But I think you can learn so much by doing that and being intentional and being smart about it, right?
Exactly. I love that. All right, Bob. Who should you ask when you're trying to reach that gold standard? We should ask Bob.
You can ask me if you want. It's for me, when I first got started, I think Jill mentioned this. It was a little bit cutting out, but I think Jill did mention this. We always try to do everything ourselves, right? And it can be difficult as entrepreneurs, especially a new entrepreneur, when you're standing on top of the hill and you think you're the best, and you're invincible. It can be difficult to admit something that you're not good at. Like I'm not good at that, or maybe I'm good at it, but it takes me a week to get that done. Maybe I can have a great result from doing it myself, but it takes just so long to do it. So whatever it is, you know, if you're trying to do your own publicity by yourself and it's taking absolutely ages, call Jill. If you're struggling with marketing, talk to AJ. If you can't, the amount of people I talk to who say, I just want to say this and I can't get it down on paper or I can't get it down on the screen. Talk to a copywriter, talk to somebody who can get the words that you want to communicate on that page. Use people that are experts in their field to push you, skyrocket you towards gold standard.
I have nothing else to add to that. That is.
Well, I pitched everyone apart from Peggy. If you want a great photo, go to Peggy. Sorry.
Sorry, Bob. I was going to private message you later and say what. Yeah, and find somebody that understands what you need. The areas you're lacking in. I say this, I would say 8 out of 10 times when I'm asked this question, mirrors and maps. Find somebody that will be honest with you and say, you got spinach in your teeth. Show you in that mirror, oh, you're not as fixed up as you thought you were. You're lacking here. You need to go fix this. And maps, people that have already paved the way, already succeeded at that, like Bentley, find those are your maps and you want to follow those and, hold yourself to a higher standard. And I think that's what we all need to do is, and I think like Jill said, we don't do this alone. I think the key is asking for help, asking someone, being honest, and just really opening it up. Sometimes it's as easy as just asking the universe, who do I need to ask? And then all of a sudden you see a podcast, or you listen to a podcast, or you see a video, or you see a social media post, and you're like, oh, a copywriter, duh. I can't find the words. I need to go find a copywriter, duh. So we just need to ask. So that is my take on that. So this is our speed round now. So Jill, I know you have something that you need to run to really soon. So I'm going to start with you. I want you to share one tip to take your brand to the gold standard. What is your one tip for everyone?
A key tip is get clear on your message. From a publicity standpoint, from what's the problem out there in the marketplace. I didn't ask what you did, right? Provider, the expert that the media needs. I think that'll make a huge difference. Problem solution piece will be excellent at media, networking, of your platforms as a consistent message that's aligned with your brand.
AJ, I thought I was muted. I was looking. AJ, give us your one tip. This is our power team.
Okay, so can you make the question back up so I can just read it quick? Sorry.
No problem at all. What is your one tip? Oh, you're in the wrong. What is your one tip to take your brand to the gold standard?
So go talk to people. Go ask your customers. Go ask people that aren't your friends. I find friends are quite destructive in terms of asking for advice from, because they want to be kind. So go ask your customers. Go hire a secret shopper to go and gather intelligence on what the marketplace thinks about you. And use that intelligence and that information, that research to build that better.
Absolutely. All right, Bob, your last tip.
Well, AJ kind of stole mine, but okay.
Sorry, I apologize.
I can kind of go a bit further on it. So one part of we as entrepreneurs, we all have an onboarding process, right? Excuse me, something's stuck in my throat. Where we bring our clients on, we might have some templates that we use. That's going to make that process so much quicker in terms of consistent communication as well, having templates for emails to bring clients on. But not many of us think about the offboarding process. Once we've made the sale, we've provided the service, we're done. But just asking your clients, and especially the ones that maybe didn't have what you would consider your gold standard, asking them for a customer experience, build a customer experience survey, and then asking them to complete that survey. You're going to get feedback, and especially with ones where you can ask them for a rating of 1 to 10, because where they put it in that, where they place it in that rating is going to give you a bit of an indication of where kind of improvements are going to be needed. And then also I know I'm going to share an extra tip, but I just want to jump on something AJ said in the previous one about how he follows kind of Bentley and looks at what they do and tries to emanate that in his own marketing. Also something else that not many of us do is create a swipe file. So I specialize in email copy more than anything else, although I do lots of different kinds of email copy. And in my email inbox, I have an email swipe file. And whenever I receive an email that I think, wow, that was great, and I saw how that, because I can see the inside workings of how it works, I saw how that really did a great job, I just pop it straight into my swipe file. And then when it comes to building a great customer experience and looking at what's currently worked already from other businesses, you can jump into that swipe file and see and get inspired by how you can build that into your own branding as well.
Okay, because that was so good, we're going to give you that extra tip.
Thank you.
I'll just say on the back of that, never check my phone, because you'll see how many screenshots and adverts I've saved as I've been on the train, on the plane. You're just going, oh, that's a great website. Let's take it. I love that feature. I'm just, I'm like Bob. I have this massive swipe file on my phone and on my PC as well. So yeah.
Well, as marketers, we never stop working, do we? Because we're watching TV or watching a movie, and suddenly marketing happens there. It's like, oh, that's great. I love that.
Well, I think that's wonderful when you love what you do. That's really right. It's always play.
Yeah, exactly.
It's always play. Sometimes, apparently, you're supposed to shut it off, though, but that's a whole other topic. So my one tip is be your customer. In other words, think that you are a person. For me, think that I am a person that needs a new headshot, and I need to understand how I'm going to use that in my marketing. So go do a Google search, go to my website, go to my social media. Does it lead me to dead ends? Does it lead me to me? Like, what happens? Go through the onboarding process. Was it confusing? Did it make sense? Were there gaps? Were there dead links? Were there things there that doesn't really work the way in my head I thought it would, but as a customer, it's not going to be practical. Go through and be your own customer through the whole process. And who said it? Probably Bob. What about offboarding, right? What about offboarding? Think about it all the way through. How is your customer experience? And did that match up with what you said it was, with what your brand is, with what your vision was it? And if not, then go fix it. So that's my one tip. Be your own customer. All right. Now it is time for announcements. I know Monica sings it. Sorry, guys. I'm not going to sing. Sorry. That was all you get. That was it. announcements. All right, Jill, we're going to start with you first. Tell us what is going on in your, Jill, we lost you. There you are. All right, get up here and tell us what's going on and how people can find you and work with you. Oh no. We literally lost Jill. We can't hear Jill. Well, all right. So Jill would like you to go to her website and get this free gift, find out how she can work with you and how she can help you in your publicist needs, and you're out there getting you out there and seen. So go to the website below. Bye, Jill. Go to the website below and grab the free gift, right? All right, no brainer. All right, AJ, I'll let you introduce yourself and your own announcement since we can hear you.
Hopefully still. So yeah, so I have 2 courses. I also do consultancy. So if you have an e-commerce store or you're struggling with digital marketing, come and talk to me. I can help you either point you in the right direction or help you introduce you to the right person, or I can help you directly. So yeah, so I am here to solve any digital marketing problems that you have.
Nice. All right, so go find AJ and Bob. Now, I've personally worked with Bob, so I'm going to give Bob a little personal shout out. This guy's a genius. All right, Bob, go ahead. What you got?
How can I possibly add to that, Peggy? I do want to. I'm going to plug something here actually. So what we've talked about today, and your final tip, Peggy, was be your customer, right? But to be your customer, you kind of also have to know your customer. And when you sign up to my newsletter or subscribe to my email list, you're going to get a couple of freebies, and one of them is how to build a customer persona. So you can go to copybean.co.uk and do that. But you can also book a free discovery call with me to talk about any kind of communication or copywriting needs that you might have in your business, and see how I can kind of help with that.
Awesome. Well, I don't know, but I think that we should talk about the MinkLife community and all the amazing things that are going on in this community. And we have an upcoming conference, and it was moved because it is in London, and because of the Queen, we did move it. It is coming up the 23rd and 24th. It is, if you have never been to a conference, you have to do this. This is so impactful. There's 24 panels, 6 reflective workshops, 24 breakout sessions. It is on London time, but it is a global, people in LA are going to be in it. It's all over. It is amazing. Don't miss out. Go to nextglobalvirtualconference.com. If you are not already a part of the Mink community, where the heck have you been? Because we have so much fun here. We have our own private app where you don't have to worry about birth announcements or dog pictures or cat. Well, every once in a while, but mostly it's all about business and all about encouraging and helping one another. So jump in, become a part of this community, find out all of the amazing help that you can get for your own entrepreneurial journey through networking and being a part of this amazing group. And don't forget about the Minkubator. Now, what is the Minkubator? It is a virtual co-working space. So a lot of times as entrepreneurs, we feel alone. And sometimes when we feel alone, we get distracted and we don't get the work done we need. So this is an amazing place. You come together, you can do your own work. You can also say, hey, Peggy, do you have a second? Can you give me a tip about this? Hey, Bob, can you read this and tell me if I look smarter than a first grader, things like that. So we're there. Sometimes it's just nice to have another human in the same space as you while you're working and doing your stuff. So make sure you check this out. All of these things, if you're not a part of it, we do offer a 14-day free trial. So now's a great time because it's conference season. Now's a great time to jump in on it. Of course, our weekly shows. We have this show on Wednesday, which is at 9 a.m. Pacific time. And then we have another show tomorrow, Thursdays at 2 p.m. Pacific time. So make sure that you are tuning into this. This will also be available to rewatch on the rewatch, and it will also be available wherever you listen to your podcast. And we also have an amazing e-magazine that you're going to want to check out. Yay, we did it, guys. I had so much fun. Thank you guys for being a part of this. Thank you for listening. And AJ and Bob and Jill, who was having a bit of technical issues, but we still got great stuff.
We got there.
We got there. Thanks a lot, guys. Bye.
Thank you.
Giles, bye.
Bye.